Tonight we're going to cover some of the fighters, different classes, different rules and all that in my Advanced Dungeons & Dragons game. If a player wants to, if he's a little bit bored with the regular old fighter, warrior, whatever type, I made this table and essentially they go along this and they can end up with an actual kit from the Fighter Kit's Complete Fighter's Handbook, Barbarian Kit, Paladin Kit, and Ranger Kits. All of these have their own books, and of course I've got just about everything. That's kind of just something for something different. Okay, I'm going to turn this sideways here. All right, I know my hands are in the way here. The fighter... All right. The fighter class notes and information. The fighter class is seemingly the easiest to play, but for a fighter to succeed and survive in the long haul... Let me stop this for a second. In the long haul, he will need smarts and luck as well. Fighters need a minimum strength of 9, but one should not even consider being a warrior unless he has 15 strength or better. Optimally, 18 strength is preferred, and taking weapon specialization maximizes all his combat goodness into a killing machine. If a fighter has 15 plus strength, then he also earns experience point bonus of 10% extra over what he gets on adventures. Fighters can dual wield 2 weapons as well when having a weapon in each hand, and no shield. The penalty for attacking is -2, -4. That is -4 for your main weapon hand and -2 for your main weapon hand and -4 for your lesser weapon hand. However, having a high dexterity can lower these penalties to 0 for your right main hand if you have an 18 dexterity, and -2 for your offhand or your left hand. The fighter cannot use 2 long swords for this. One weapon must be smaller and weigh about 3.5 pounds or less. Fighters can specialize in a weapon as stated earlier, gaining +1 to hit, an extra half attack per round, and +2 damage. Now, what I mean by extra half attack a round, so you get 1 attack a round as a warrior, right? Makes sense. But if you specialize, you get an extra attack every other round. So it would be 3-2. That would be the ratio of attacking. When you turn a certain level, I think it's like 6th or 7th, your attacks go up. So the specialization would give you 2 attacks a round. So, and then after that, it's 2 attacks, 3 attacks, 2 attacks, 3 attacks, and then 3 attacks every round. And then finally, I think that's probably the maximum. I'm not even sure. Fighters can specialize in a weapon as stated earlier, gaining +1 to hit, an extra attack a round, +2 damage. When a fighter goes to 3-2 attacks, he gets 3 attacks every 2 rounds of combat. On the first and third round, he gets 1 attack, and on the second and fourth rounds, he gets 2 attacks, and so on. What is more is that fighters can improve their weapon specialization if they are intelligent enough through training with qualified weapon specialists. They can go from regular weapon specialization to weapon specialization mastery to high mastery and finally grand mastery. There are 3 kinds of weapon adaptness for the fighter class to choose from. Check them out. Okay, I took this language and I took these from Players, what was it? Players Options, Combat, and I think Fighting. So this is the final weapon table ever published for 2nd edition, and it actually comes from Planescape. If you have the Planescape box set, it's got every weapon listed in there on the Dungeon Master screen, which is just fantastic. Somehow I was able to find this screen, and I never had to open up my own box set. This is what I was talking about. This is weapon. Let's see. This one here is specialization of a single weapon group, which is so-so. Weapon expertise, and there are certain kits, and everybody except for regular old fighters that can choose this. But this is the one I'm talking about right here. Weapon mastery through specialization is in these added stages. So you've got weapon specialization, which is in the 2nd edition Player's Handbook. You've got weapon specialization mastery, weapon specialization high mastery, weapon specialization grand mastery. And I'd like to talk to you more about this, but I feel that it's controversial, and we're not going to cover that today. Let me know if you would like me to. So right now, we're going to go over some of the differences. Well, I don't think I'm going to do this tonight. It's already around 6 minutes, and I do have a cold. But we're going to cover the Ranger, 1st versus 2nd edition. Which I let either play in my game. I always let either 1st or 2nd edition, but you have to follow the rules. And then, of course, we have, the Paladin character class and what's going on with that. The 1st and 2nd edition are the same. Let's see. I've got the table for turning undead for the Paladin right here. The Cavalier. The Cavalier is a problem, as written in our Unearthed Arcana. And I've used this article. It was from Dragon Magazine, 1989. My players at first hated it, but now they're coming to like it. It just took away some of the really stupid things inside the character class. And if you have that, maybe you can find it on Google or whatever, and you can look up how they got rid of like the unbelievably stupid things that's in that book. Sorry, Gary. I kept some of it, and then I decided to make all the Knight Orders of Greyhawk. Knights of Holy Shielding, Knights of the Watcher Cavalier Kit, Knights of the Watch, the Dispatcher Cavalier Kit, Knights of the Order of the Heart, Knights of Fiorendi Cavalier Kit, Knights of the Order of the Heart, Knights of Aluna Cavalier Kit, Knights of the Order of the Heart, Knights of the High Forest Cavalier Kit, Knights Protectors of the Great Kingdom, which is what we're in the middle of doing now, Knights of Luna, a High Elven Cavalier Kit. I made Death Knights for Uz. They're called Uz Tyrant Knights, and there's a lot to them. The Medegia Knightly Order Kit, fighters / not a true Cavalier kit, but they do get some of the bonuses of Cavaliers because it's kind of bastard side. Bastard side. I can't even say that. And then here I describe what the good, neutral, and evil Cavaliers might be like, what the kind of things the players might want to follow for a code. And I've got some images here of some of the Cavaliers and the Knights. This would be, I don't know, I didn't really write anything here. Let's see. Well, this is a Knight of the Holy Shielding, and you'll see a lot of these shields in the Greyhawk coat of arms. This is Fiorendi, and I think I got one more here. Knight Protector of the Great Kingdom. I go on to describe the barbarian class. This is to help my players who do not want to read. So all they have to do is read a few pages to get the idea of what they want to do. And then it says what they can do with their, say, barbarians detecting magic. How does it work? And so on and so forth. What it will do and what it won't do. And then I've got that table with all the weapons. These are the various barbarians. I've got 4 different barbarian types. These are for the barbarians of the Tiger and Wolf Nomads, barbarians of the Rovers of the Barrens, barbarians of the Amodio Jungles and Hetmanland. And then finally we have barbarians of the Frost, Ice, Snow, and the Hold of the Stonefist type barbarians. Mainly, they're mostly the same, except for some of their tertiary powers. That's it. You've got different abilities here that they can use at will. If there's like some sort of discrepancy or a difficulty, then I will force them to make a roll, whether they succeed or not. We'll probably use it like a proficiency or something like that. I've done that in the past. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. I've got a whole section with just about every class: bards, thieves, assassins, monks, clerics, druids. And of course, this book also has the general idea of making characters. And the wizards are also in this book. All right, have a good evening.